Hello and welcome to Hands-On Education. Today we will look at a timeline of the Tudors, a family who ruled England between 1485 and 1603. Our timeline begins before this, however, in 1455 during the Wars of the Roses. The Wars of the Roses were a series of civil wars fought in England between two houses or families, the House of Lancaster and the House of York. Each house was represented by a rose. Both houses felt their prince should be the monarch of England. The civil wars between the two houses came to an end in 1485 at the Battle of Bosworth Field, where Henry Tudor from the House of Lancaster became the victor. After the battle, Henry Tudor became King Henry VII of England. To put a final end to the unrest between the two houses, he married Elizabeth of York. The red and white rose symbols were combined to make the Tudor rose, a symbol of peace in England. In 1509, Henry VII died, and his son Henry VIII became King of England. Henry VIII is famous for having been married 6 times. First, he married Catherine of Aragon, who he divorced to marry Anne Boleyn. This marriage only lasted a couple of years before Anne Boleyn was beheaded for treason. Next, he married Jane Seymour, who died shortly after giving birth to their son Edward. This was followed by a marriage to Anne of Cleves, which only lasted 6 months before he divorced her to marry Catherine Howard. She was also beheaded for treason. Finally, he married Catherine Parr, who outlived King Henry VIII. Henry VIII had 3 children: Mary with his first wife, Catherine of Aragon, Elizabeth with his second wife, Anne Boleyn, and Edward with his third wife, Jane Seymour. This painting from between 1544 and 1545 shows Henry VIII with his family. It presents the strength and continuity of the Tudor dynasty during a time of uncertainty. In the centre of the painting sits Henry with his third wife, Jane Seymour, who was dead at the time of the painting. At the beginning of his reign, King Henry VIII was a devout Catholic and even earned the title Defender of the Faith, given to him by the Pope. However, after many years of marriage to his first wife, Catherine of Aragon, Henry only had a daughter to succeed him, and so he looked to have his marriage annulled. The Pope refused, and Henry cut ties with Rome, becoming head of the Church of England. This was a significant event during his reign, allowing him to marry Anne Boleyn and causing religious unrest in the country. In 1534, Henry VIII declared himself head of the Church of England, and in 1535 the first Bibles were printed in English and placed in churches. King Henry VIII was also known as the father of the Royal Navy, having many warships built throughout his reign, including the Mary Rose, which was launched in 1511. The ship served in a number of wars against France, Scotland, and Brittany. In 1545, the ship led the attack against a French invasion, but sank. In 1547, King Henry VIII died, and at the age of 9, his son, Edward VI, began his reign as king. Edward died 6 years later from consumption, which we now call tuberculosis. In 1553, Mary I became the first woman to be crowned ruler of England in her Tudor birthright. She was a devout Catholic and was determined to return England to Roman Catholicism. In 1554, Queen Mary I married Philip II of Spain, but their marriage did not produce any children, and Philip did not rule England after her death. In 1558, Queen Elizabeth I began her reign as queen. During her reign, she brought stability to England and ruled for over 40 years. This period of time is often referred to as the Golden Age, as Elizabeth I was known to be tolerant of different religions. In 1588, King Philip II of Spain sent a large fleet of ships to invade England and restore the country to the Catholic faith. For a number of reasons, the invasion failed, and Elizabeth saw this as an act of God. She used the victory to strengthen her position as Queen of England. When Queen Elizabeth I died childless in 1603, it marked the end of the reign of the Tudor family. Your hands-on activity sort images into the correct order to show a timeline of the Tudor period. Display your timeline or add them to your history timeline notebook. You can also make a Tudor family tree. For more information about this activity and related activities, please go to handsoneducation.com, The Tudors. I hope you've enjoyed finding out about the Tudors. Please like and subscribe, and we will see you soon. Bye.